At 1:55 in the morning, a security camera recorded 27-year-old Brian Shaffer near the entrance of a crowded bar in Columbus, Ohio. He had been celebrating the beginning of spring break with friends. The building was busy. The streets outside were active, and cameras watched the main entrance. Minutes later, the bar closed. Brian's friends came outside and waited for him, but Brian never appeared. Investigators reviewed the recordings again and again. They could see him near the entrance, but they could not find a clear image of him leaving. No confirmed sighting has explained what happened next. This is case file number 2, the disappearance of Brian Shaffer. In the spring of 2006, Brian Randall Shaffer was 27 years old and studying medicine at Ohio State University. He stood 6 feet 2 inches tall, had brown hair and hazel eyes, played guitar, and carried a Pearl Jam tattoo on his upper right arm. Brian was not a stranger passing through Columbus. He was a student with plans, relationships, and a future that seemed to be taking shape. Medical school demanded long hours and intense concentration, and the end of exams offered a rare opportunity to step away from that pressure. On the evening of March 31st, Brian went out with friends. It was the beginning of spring break. What should have been an ordinary night of celebration became the final confirmed chapter of his known life. Brian and his companions visited bars near the Ohio State campus. Later that night, they arrived at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a second-floor bar in the South Campus Gateway complex on North High Street. The building mattered because surveillance cameras covered the area near the main entrance. At approximately 1:15 a.m., footage reportedly showed Brian moving toward the bar. Near 1:55 a.m., he appeared again near the escalators, speaking briefly with 2 women. He then moved back toward the bar and out of the camera's view. That image became the last confirmed visual record of Brian Shaffer. The bar was approaching closing time. Patrons began moving toward the exit. Brian's friends came outside and waited. When he did not join them, they initially believed he may have left separately and returned home on his own. But Brian did not return home. The next day brought concern. Calls went unanswered. Plans went unfulfilled. Brian was scheduled to travel to Miami with his girlfriend on April 3rd, but he did not make the flight. When the disappearance was reported, investigators turned to the surveillance recordings. The footage offered a clear point in the timeline. Brian was at the bar shortly before 2 in the morning, but the cameras created a second, more troubling question. Where was the image of him leaving? Investigators reviewed footage from the entrance and surrounding area. The recordings captured crowds moving through the complex, yet no confirmed image showed Brian departing after his final appearance. That does not prove he never left the building. Cameras can have blind spots. A person can be obscured by a crowd, change clothing, or use another route. The bar also had a service exit, but after years of review, no publicly confirmed recording has resolved the missing exit. The mystery is not that a man vanished from a sealed room. The mystery is that a busy public place, watched by cameras and filled with witnesses, produced no verified answer. Police searched the area and followed leads. Brian's description was distributed publicly. His identifying features, including his height, eye color, and distinctive tattoo, were recorded in missing person databases. The case was entered into the FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program and the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. Authorities continued asking for information from anyone who had seen Brian or knew what happened after his final confirmed contact. An age-progressed image was later created to show how Brian might look as an older man. It was not an answer. It was a reminder that the possibility of finding him had not been abandoned. Years passed without a publicly confirmed sighting. No single piece of evidence established whether Brian left voluntarily, suffered an accident, or became the victim of a crime. What can be said? Many theories have circulated around this case. Some suggest Brian found an unseen way out of the building. Others imagine an encounter outside the bar, an accident, or a deliberate disappearance. None of those explanations has been proven. The surveillance footage is evidence of where Brian was near 1:55 a.m. It is not evidence of what happened afterward. The absence of a clear exit image is important, but it cannot identify a destination, a motive, or another person's involvement. Responsible reporting has to stop where the verified record stops. We know Brian was in Columbus. We know he was spending the night with friends. We know he was last recorded near the bar entrance shortly before closing. And we know that after that moment, no publicly confirmed evidence has explained where he went. The dark chapter. Most disappearances leave behind a final road, a final vehicle, or a final place where the missing person was seen walking away. Brian Shaffer's case leaves behind something different, an entrance without a confirmed exit. The footage has been watched by investigators, journalists, and strangers, searching for a detail everyone else missed. Yet, a camera can only record what passes through its frame. Beyond that frame are all the spaces where certainty disappears. Brian would be in his late 40s today. His case remains open, and his name remains listed by the FBI and Ohio authorities. Someone may still know what happened after 1:55 that morning. Until that information reaches investigators, the final chapter of Brian Shaffer's story remains unwritten. Anyone with credible information should contact the Columbus Division of Police or submit a tip through the FBI. This was Story of Dark Chapter.